Russia steps up its bombardment of large parts of Ukraine as NATO warns the conflict is about to get worse. We'll be reporting from inside the country's second biggest city of Kharkiv, where residential buildings have been reduced to rubble by constant Russian shelling.
This is so far from normal. It's kind of hard to even describe, and these people have no idea what they're going to do next.
Europe's largest nuclear plant is hit by Russian forces overnight. The fires are now under control. Ukraine says Moscow is resorting to nuclear terror.
The Russian tanks knew what they were firing at. They directly hit the plant. This is terror on an unprecedented level.
And Ukraine's borders, the refugee queues grow longer there. More and more people are trying to flee.
And here, the impact of the crisis on energy supplies has caused a surge in wholesale prices. The cost of gas in the UK is now 13 times higher than a year ago.
Our correspondent Dan Rivers has been near to the Zaporizhzhia plant and sent this report.
Today there was no outward sign of the battle which had raged around Europe's biggest nuclear power station. But footage inside the complex gives a chilling glimpse into the nuclear Russian roulette playing out at Enerhodar as the bullets and shells flew. The moment a column of Russian troops arrived was filmed by a worker at the plant. After dark, flares were fired to illuminate their targets, as volleys of bullets slammed into buildings just a short distance from the reactors. One building used for training was set alight by the fighting. The consequences of a round going a few hundred meters further don't bear thinking about. Today, the International Atomic Energy Authority confirmed the plant itself remains undamaged.
All the safety systems of the 6 reactors at the plant were not affected at all, and that there has been no release of radioactive material. No release of radioactive material.
In Nikopol, across the river from the plant, the memories of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986 still linger with the old and haunt the thoughts of the young who've watched the dramatization on TV. Are you worried that something terrible could happen?
Yes, we all, especially older people just they know what was in Chernobyl, and now they just fear because it can be again. It can be again.
The fighting on the other side of the Dnieper River here highlights the potentially terrifying consequences of war in a country with 15 nuclear reactors. 6 of them are here at this one power station. Today, President Zelensky underlined what a stray shell could mean.
Російські війська атакували Запорізьку атомну станцію, найбільшу в Європі. Вона одна могла бути як 6 Чорнобилів. Російські танкісти знали, що вони обстрілюють. Прямою наводкою по станції – це терор небаченого рівня.
It's not just a threat to Ukraine. It could send a radioactive cloud across much of Europe. Once again, the world is realizing this war has global consequences. Dan Rivers, ITV News, Eastern Ukraine.
The Zaporizhzhia power plant produces around half of all the nuclear energy generated by Ukraine. It's made up of 6 nuclear reactors. Only one of them, reactor 4, is currently operating. 3 are shut down. 2 are in low power mode. The reactor's shells are designed to withstand earthquakes, and if power supplies get cut, diesel generators would kick into action. But if they were to fail and coolant stops being pumped, it could trigger a meltdown similar to the one seen in Fukushima back in 2011. Experts think an explosion like Chernobyl is unlikely, but these reactors are a different type to those involved in the 1986 disaster. But news of the attack overnight will bring back painful memories. Well, the actions of Russian forces were condemned both here and across the world today. It prompted an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. OK, let's take a look at how the situation looks on the ground now on day 9 of the Russian invasion. The shaded areas, as you can see, show the territory Russia controls, including now one of Ukraine's 4 nuclear power stations. According to the UK Ministry of Defence, 5 cities have been completely surrounded by Russian forces. Mariupol, in particular, continues to face heavy bombardment, with much of its infrastructure destroyed. While just to the north of the capital, Kyiv, a 40-mile-long Russian convoy that's been stalled for days still appears not to have moved. From the city, our Europe editor James Mates has the latest.
One by one, Ukrainian cities are coming under bombardment. This time it's the turn of Zhytomyr, west of Kiev, about as far west as Russian forces have so far come. By day 9 of this war, the pictures have become no less damning for the fact they're so familiar. As ever, civilian buildings and civilian areas flattened, apparently for no better reason than to destroy Ukrainian morale and the fabric of their society. Vitaly Dankevich is a pillar of that society, a teacher, a family man, now sheltering at home in fear for what may become of his wife and children.
We are a very small country, but with very brave people. And these brave people try to fight. We try to fight and we have success. But I don't know a time for which we can do this fight.
Outside the southern city of Mariupol, the Russians have released pictures of the wreckage of the Ukrainian defences. We're seeing little from the inside, but the besieged deputy mayor has got this message out.
So city is surrounded by Russian troops from 3 directions. So in fact, city is blocked. Internally, city is controlled by Ukrainian army and Ukrainian National Guard and police. Putin and Russian army totally destroyed all infrastructure. I mean, city lives for 3 days without electricity, without water, sanitary systems.
In the middle of all this, Vladimir Putin made a frankly bizarre appearance on Russian TV, apparently of the view we should all just get back to normal.
We have no bad intentions towards our neighbors. We do not see any need here to aggravate or worsen our relations. I think that everyone should think about how to normalize relations and cooperate normally.
Cooperate normally after this. The view from the Ukrainian government is that if they're allowed to lose here, this is what awaits elsewhere in Europe.
I'm certain that this war develops in a way where the moment will come. You will be willing to provide us with anything, literally anything that we need to stop Putin from hitting you and turning Europe into the nightmare. And my hope, my only hope, is that it will not be too late.
For much of Ukraine, it may already be too late. Whoever wins this war seems likely to inherit little but a shattered land emptied of millions of its people.